Hello, Quincy. My name is Adam Mayer, and welcome to On Cue. On Cue is a cooperative program brought to you by Quincy Access Television and Quincy High School. And now, I have some segments that I would like to share with you. Our first segment features an interview with Holly Nichols, who is a full-time fashion designer and a North Quincy graduate. You can check out some of her work at her website at www.hnicholsillustration.com.
I had never thought about writing a book before, but yeah, no. So this is back in 2014, but my Instagram took off in 2014. It was a lot easier to kind of build an account with Instagram back then because everything was just getting started. So that was many years ago, I guess now. And I had always had a social presence since making that account. And last year, after doing a lot of like story tutorials and just different videos of my process, a publisher approached me with the opportunity to take all of that and put it into a book. So it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. So I have a fine arts background. I studied fine arts and earned my BFA from Endicott College. So I had always been interested in the arts. And even prior to that, my mom put me into art classes when I was really young, more oil painting and fine arts. And then when I was in college, I took an interior rendering course, and we were introduced to the medium that I use mostly today, which are these markers. And I kind of fell in love with it. And I said, I wonder if I can somehow combine this art form with my love for fashion. And I discovered fashion illustration. I didn't really know it was called that at the time, but I was just drawing these dresses. And I just never stopped. And I think the interesting distinction too is that I don't consider myself a fashion designer because my end goal isn't for the pieces to come to life. It's for them to exist on paper as an art form. So my clients are buying my artwork on paper, not on 3D form. But yeah. I always think it would be interesting to collaborate with a designer to create my illustrations into something real, but I can't sew a button if I wanted to. So my followers are from all over the world. And part of my platform is I want everyone to see themselves in my work. So I hear of a young woman that says, I'd really love you to draw XYZ. And so I say, I think that would be beautiful. And I'll research the different types of fashion that come from that specific place. And then a lot of times too, I'll tap into them and I'll work directly with them via DM and say, can you make sure that what I am depicting is accurate to your traditions and customs? And they might make a few little tweaks here and there. But I want to make sure that it's accurate. And so that's why I really like drawing different people from all different places. One thing I will say is and the reason why I called my book Modern Fashion Illustration was because I'm not using traditional fashion illustration proportions, which are typically really long, abnormally tall figures. So to give you a bit of background, they call them croquis, which means the figure. So a typical croquis or figure is 7 to 9 heads lengths sometimes. And I draw mine on more of a realistic figure drawing scale, which would probably be anywhere from 6 to 7, maybe 8. So they're a little shorter. And then I use realistic body proportions too. And I don't do such expressive kind of loose line work and sketches. I like to keep it very kind of intricate and a little bit of realism mixed with some whimsy. So I'm kind of like teetering on a line of realistic / illustrative. But yeah, I just like what I do. I try not to overanalyze it. I have to say I'm quite lucky that I have been not only supported by a family that is very has always cheered me on with my artistic endeavors, even though going into the arts doesn't necessarily provide job security. Yeah. So I've always had their support. I haven't had too many things to overcome, luckily, and I recognize the privilege in that. But I think the one thing as an artist that I've found can be difficult that most artists will experience, regrettably, in their career is theft of their art. So it's just a matter of knowing, understanding or having some familiarity with copyright law and how that all works. I knew I would always do something creative, but I never knew that what I was doing was possible. And I think that's mostly because it's not often presented to young artists that they can have a career as a full-time artist, because I never really saw that before I was in college. So that's why I like talking to young people, college and high school, just to let them know that it is possible.
Our next segment features an interview with Counselor Nina Liang about climate change in Quincy, made by Nandan Nair.
All right, so today we're here with Nina Liang, one of our city councilors at large. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's get started.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were a lot of little moments along the way where I was conscious about climate change and the impact and our impact in stopping that, or at least slowing it down. A friend of mine has 3 kids, and one of them, the middle son, was probably 10 or 11 at the time. They were having the conversation in their school about climate change and what they can do in their homes. The anxiety that he had around the conversation really stuck with me. Who can make a difference and who can help alleviate that kind of anxiety? I'm like, that's our job. That's literally our job right now, right? We're the functioning adults in society. We are the ones that are responsible right now, right? To alleviate that kind of anxiety. At that particular moment in time that I realized, it doesn't matter if we have the answers or not, we need to be proactive in trying to seek out what we can do to, again, alleviate that kind of anxiety and leave a better world behind. So I'd be remiss if I didn't start by just saying that Quincy Climate Action has been absolutely amazing, right? They are the ones who I think have really educated me along the way in the last 6 years that I've been serving as a counselor. And one of the first things that they had done is actually introducing and putting together a resolution that essentially asked that all city vehicles become electric vehicles. In the last 6 years since that has passed, we've certainly made waves in that direction. So I'm really happy about that. We've also worked on trying to implement composting across the city. You think about the amount of money it costs to pay a company to take our trash, to pay the company to do the recycling. If we just implemented even just a little bit of composting, it would help to alleviate the cost of doing the trash and recycling. The last thing I would say is working with the Parks Department or the Natural Resources Department to essentially take those resources the state is offering to municipalities to do tree planting programs, right? So I think it's really important that, as we develop as a city and we're doing a lot of, infrastructure work, that we do everything we can to preserve, the canopy that we have here across the city. One of the things we need to be mindful of is language access, right? A huge bulk of our population, is AAPI, but a lot of that population, comes in with English as a second language. And so if we're providing all these resources, it's very critical that we make sure that there is, a language access program in place so that residents can access these resources. And so that's something that I've been working on too, is, creating, mandated translation services that are provided to folks, both on paper and verbal. And then of course, ADA compliance with all of that information to make sure that that's getting out there as well. Oh, those are big questions. Yeah. I would be such a happy camper if we got composting done across the city, both in residential and commercial, right? Again, we're growing so much as a city, and this is such an opportunity for us to really set an example for other municipalities to follow suit. If we can really start to implement it here in the city and it becomes citywide and people are taking advantage of it, to be able to set that example and have that kind of ripple effect is really important. For so many reasons, it's beneficial for us as a city, right? It brings more attention to the city and all the good work that we're doing. It's good for the environment, right? It's good for people. It's good for our pockets. I mean, just all around, I think everyone wins. For me, again, language access is so, so, so important, right? And if we continue to build on these resources and we continue to have these wins, like these really great moments, we should be sharing all of that. We should be, sharing that in languages that folks can understand and that they can read, so that they can be proud of their city and the progress that it's making, right? But more importantly, so that they can take advantage of these opportunities as they come. My family, is most of them they speak English as their second language. And so I'm constantly just instinctually asking for translations. I think about all the other residents out there who, not just Chinese, but any other folks who have English as a second language, want to take advantage of these opportunities. And so I want that to outlive me. I want any initiative, right, as folks are thinking about promoting it into the city, to just instinctually be like, oh, this is a great thing we're doing. We're starting composting. We need to educate our residents, and we need to make sure it's translated, right? Like, I would love for that to be just a natural next step in any sort of community outreach we do. So a lot of departments are already thinking and working that way. If we could do that citywide, then yeah, I think between those two things, I'd be a very happy camper. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all the questions I had for today. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. I'd love to see you, whatever your path is next, definitely come back. We can't do this work alone. I'm not an expert in this by any means. And so if there's any ever suggestions or things that you want to recommend to the council, please always reach out and let us know, because that's how we can get it done.
Our next segment today is a short film called Lost in the Backrooms, filmed by Pietro Pereira, Nandan Nair, and myself. We were assigned to get footage of downtown Quincy and make it into a greater project.
Ah!
Up next, we have a collection of PSAs that were created for the holidays.
We will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope.
If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
This nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed.
For our last segment today, we have an interview with Mr. Frank Santoro. This interview is about the new Q Arts Gallery down by Southern Hancock Street in Quincy Center.
Well, first of all, the Quincy Art Association has been around for 40 years, 40 some odd years, but we never really had a gallery. And so we went to the mayor, and the mayor said is excited about it as well. Quincy Square seems to be coming back. People are moving in, restaurants are opening up, and with his assistance, we were able to get a beautiful spot on Hancock Street, 1229 Hancock, right across from Quincy College, and very accessible to the public to come and visit us, because now our members, some 200 members, have an opportunity to put their artwork up, and we're very happy to be able to run such a gallery. Our gallery's open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're closed Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but we're open till about 5 o'clock, and we certainly invite the public to come and see. Some beautiful pieces of artwork are there, and we're changing our shows monthly as well. We have a multitude of artisans within our Quincy Art Association. Right now, if you come into the gallery, you would actually see a show from Leslie College. We've given Leslie College one wall, and that is up until March 11th. Leslie College students have put up a show of photography and integrated media, which is an exceptional show to see. These are graduating seniors. We also have a number of small works from our members. Small works meaning that the piece of art has to be less than 200 square inches. We have about 40 or 50 of those pieces hanging. And then we featured two of our artists, Deb Putnam and Chris Kreitman, both of exceptional oil painting artists. And we featured those two artists this past month as well. Oh, we also have jewelry. We have jewelry, we have ceramics, as well as our artwork that's hanging up. Yeah, well, you don't need to contact us. You can just come. Yeah, it's open to the public Monday. I'm sorry, let me say that again. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. all afternoon up until 5 o'clock. On the weekends, we open up at 12, and during the week, on the Thursday, Friday dates, we open up at 2. And you just need to come. However, if you want to stay in touch with what's happening with the Quincy Art Association, you can visit our website. Just Google Quincy Art Association, and you'll see our website, and it's full of information as to how to call us, how to join, how to take classes. It's a wealth of information if you look at our website as well. But there's no need to call ahead unless you bring a group. Quincy High, as a matter of fact, Mr. Doucette brought in his art class one time. We'd like to know ahead of time if you're bringing a group. The gallery is new since October. So the Quincy Art Association actually is in the original high school site up on High School Ave. The original high school was built, it's had to be before 1920, in the early 1900s. And our art association has where we hold our classes is right there in the Quincy Art Association building. The gallery, on the other hand, has only been open since October. It's a great addition to the city. Like I said, if you were going out to eat or just walking up Quincy Square, even if you were going to the Starbucks right around the corner, it's a great take just to come into the gallery and listen to some music and enjoy what you see on the walls. It's a beautiful addition to Quincy Square.
Well, that's all we have for this episode of On Cue. If you want to become a member at Quincy Access Television, go to www.qatv.org or call 617-376-1440. Again, www.qatv.org or call 617-376-1440.
Hello, my name is Ethan Shang, and my favorite show, I have to say, would be Attack on Titan, because the writers of the show really know how to make the story go from, let's just introduce like the landscape, the plot, and what characters are doing, to then tend to just go into a whole dark side, and there's this problem, this guy did that, he's a terrorist, or not terrorist, sorry, he's just evil and all of that, and I just think that's a great thing about the writers of the show. Another thing I love about it is just the artwork that it has, because in anime, artwork is like probably number 2 in priorities of how the show is going to be written, and so a lot of the artwork and just drawings of like character development and just all of that is amazing, and it's perfect for, and just how the show is and all that, like it's undescribable for me. And another thing that I love about the show is the amount of characters you can have, but the one downside of having all those characters would just be how they if one dies, it's just dramatic, and if it leaves a hole inside you when you watch the show. And people have a lot of favorite characters. I would say mine is probably Annie Leonhardt, because she can just do a bunch of different things. She has a Titan she can transform into, which is awesome. Though she's probably one of the weakest Titan shifters, she's still really cool and all that. But other people might like Eren Yeager, Reiner Braun, or people who are not even Titan shifters like Mikasa or John or Connie, or people from Marley like Falco, Gabby. There's a ton of characters people can love, and it's really good. And that's the thing about anime that's also great, just the cast of characters you can have. And those are just all the reasons why Attack on Titan is my favorite show of all time. And yeah, that's it.
Hello. So the movie that I chose to review today is Osmosis Jones. It's a movie about an out-of-shape 40-year-old man named Frank, but he is only part of the story. The real star of it all is a white blood cell inside of Frank's body named Osmosis Jones, or Jones or Oz for short. It's basically about how Jones is always being doubted by everyone, even from the people at his job. All of a sudden, that, however, would soon change once a Red Death virus named Thrax and a Drixenol cold pill named Drix enters Frank's body. Long story short, Jones and Drix defeat Thrax and prevents Frank from dying and is named a hero. The way the whole movie that was put together played out very well. Well, my guess on its target audience was for those who like knowing about the human body. To me, this was a movie based off of anatomy. The elements of the story was placed very well throughout the movie. I would rate the movie a 10 out of 10 for best storyline yet, and I highly recommend watching the movie yourself. And that's basically it for this review. If you want to know more about the movie, then I would suggest on seeing it for yourself. Thanks for listening to this review. So long now.
Hello, my name's Kyle and I'm a student from Quincy High. My favorite movie is Transformers: Dark of the Moon, and the movie is about a group of robots called the Decepticons nearly taking over Earth and wiping it out. But the Autobots, another group of robots, took over and prevented them from doing so. I like this movie because it contains many action-packed moments and scenes which have fighting and battling inside them. Growing up as a kid, I always liked Transformers, and there are 5 movies in total that are Revenge of the Fallen, Transformers, Dark of the Moon, which is my favorite, and Age of Extinction, and The Last Night. This movie has the greatest plot and storyline, in my opinion, and it also has some of the best villains, as well as some of the best heroes as well, like Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Ratchet, Ironhide, and some of the best villains in that movie are Sentinel Prime, Megatron, and Starscream. And this movie was created by Michael Bay, which he did an excellent job on the movie. And all in all, I think this movie was the greatest one in the franchise. That's it, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching.